So welcome everyone. My name's Gabby. I work here at Turnitin, and I'm going to provide a really quick tour of iThenticate. iThenticate is the most trusted plagiarism checker for researchers across the globe, and most researchers use iThenticate to help support their research work. Just a heads up now, today, I'm going to be really quick with the tour. So I'm going to do that just so that I can provide more time to answer any of your questions or cover any of the details that you're specifically curious about or interested in. So also, Alexis is going to be on the chat, so feel free to keep the conversation going while I'm presenting. They were perfectly comfortable if you've got questions or comments. She could either answer them or she'll hold on to them, and then we'll cover them when I get done with the tour. So make yourself at home, and just glad that you're here and joining us today. So first thing, I am going to go against convention here, and I'm just going to start out with the main event. So I'm going to just jump over, and we're going to look at the tour and the workflow first, and then we'll cover more of the background and details about iThenticate after we're done with the tour. So that means I'm going to start here. If I am a researcher and I'm looking to check some research work that I am getting ready to publish, or I'm getting to a new point in my draft, typically you can just go to iThenticate.com and click on Login. And if you want, we do offer single sign-on options as well with Shibboleth, Clever, or Google, I think. And this is the main interface for iThenticate. So let's do some anatomy here. The folder system here, this is how you use the tool. You've got folders in which you can set rights and permissions for view or read or upload for others within the ecosystem within your institution or your group. So the folders are here, and in the middle here is the contents of the particular folder I've chosen. And then over here on the right side is just the opportunity to submit more files to this folder and get similarity reports. I can cut and paste content. I don't even need to upload a file, do some doc-to-doc comparison, or set up new folders. So that's just the basic ecosystem, and then if you're the system administrator for iThenticate, then you've got some options here to manage users or some other details up here. So we just went back to the workflow here for a researcher. So let's just say I want to check another document. Just go to upload a document. It's in the folder that I want. Maybe I want to just get a similarity report here. I put in the first name, last name. That might be me, document title. And if I have a reporting group option, I would select that as well. It's only an option if you want. And then there's the opportunity to choose the file and click upload, or add a couple files and click upload. And once I did that and clicked upload, then that new document would appear here. You'd get a note here saying file similarity report is still processing, and about, I don't know, 60 seconds or so, then this button will show up with a percentage. This means, let's just say if we did this document here, my grant proposal draft has 42% similarity. That means that 42% of this work that I've done matches something else that exists in the world, or basically within the Turnitin database. So I'm going to click on that, and that opens the iThenticate similarity report. So this is, sorry, I had this open just a little bit ago, so it's not as tidy as I wanted it to be. Here we go. Here you see the document itself, the way I submitted it. That's the view. And then over here is a list of the match overviews. So these are the segments of matches that are color-coded and numbered from highest to lowest. And you can see the source, whether it's internet or it's other website, or in this, I don't have any examples right now, but just the case of other academia papers, publishers, that would be listed here as well. I can also see at the top 42% similar, any filters that I put on, number of words, matches, and sources. So I'm looking at this tool here, And I can look here and see this internet source here. What is this? 19% match. And as I review that, I've got three kind of modes to review. I've got this little peekaboo window here that shows the content that's matching from the source. If I want to look a little bit deeper or evaluate more of the context of that source, I can click on that side-by-side button. And I can see the content itself from that source in its entirety in this view window. And the red part is the part that is matching to my particular document. There's some content here that's not red or bold, and that means that those particular areas aren't matching. So it's not a great example, but this is a moment where I want to share that iThenticate can look at patterns of matches and still highlight them as a potential citation issue that you'd want to address. So we're not only looking just for word-for-word matches, but we can surface if enough of the idea of the sentence or paragraph or the content matches in essence. So it can be paraphrased and still be able to show a potential source for that. And so the third way, if you wanted to go even deeper, we always provide a link here, and clicking on this would then lead you to the source of that material, and then you could investigate further if that was important to you. We know, though, that a lot of use cases this is more of just a quick upload, reviewing these matches, and then moving on with whatever you're working on with your research. So we're hoping that it's an easy tool. One other thing I want to mention, sometimes you've got stuff cited. You've done everything right. So maybe you want to use some filters here to exclude the content that isn't really relevant for your similarity report. Maybe exclude quotes, bibliography. Maybe you don't want the abstract or the methods and materials matching, and maybe matches that are less than, 8 words aren't relevant or important to you. So if I apply those changes, that 42% goes down to 39. That might be more important. And then I have the opportunity to click on this download button here, and that will give me a printout, a PDF, of this document with the matches highlighted. And then I should have done a much more interesting example, but you're able to then see the matches and the details and the filters that you put on in this document as well. So that's helpful if you want to coordinate or collaborate with individuals about this work if they don't actually have iThenticate access themselves. All right, so let's get back. That is the main area here. Now I'm just going to share some details. First of all, our company is Turnitin, and I feel like we're a relatively small education company, although schools and researchers from across the globe use our solutions. And our mission is listed here. We want to ensure the integrity of global education and improve learning outcomes. And it was many years ago that government agencies actually came to Turnitin and asked for help in checking with plagiarism in their formal materials. And that is what grew into this solution or product that we're looking at today. So that not only do government agencies use iThenticate across the globe, but businesses and academia and publishers as well. And today, most R1, R2 schools use iThenticate for checking their student admission essays to make sure that they're entering in the students that have the highest integrity caliber. Also, it's a support tool used for graduate students who are working on their thesis or dissertations. And also check for grant proposals, and then lastly research to check for any citation errors before submitting for a publication. So we partner with a lot of academic researchers across the globe, and these are just a sampling of some of the schools that use iThenticate, sometimes to help vet admissions essays or support graduate students or for researchers. And iThenticate essentially is this main tool that you can use to help review for potential plagiarism issues. Why would you use it? Saves time, gives you the most thorough understanding of your citation issues, and really supports the quality of the materials that you're publishing. So essentially, this helps protect you from risk of retractions later on if there are kind of attribution errors in your writing. And the reason iThenticate instills so much confidence from authors and academic institutions is because of this database we have. Our database is ginormous, and I like to think of it as having like 3 or 4 segments to it. The first one, right here, this was 95 a couple months ago, so we're rounding the corner on this being 100%. 96% right now, the top 10,000 high-impact journals in the world. And we have content relationships with over 2,000 publishers, so not only do we capture their content within our database, but then those same publishers are customers as well. So it kind of works like this flywheel of this reciprocal relationship that continues to grow value for everyone. And also the database has indexed the internet. We capture the internet every day, 22 million pages a day, that's brand new. We index or reevaluate about 102 million every day. And what's important for you is that we're not using any third-party search engines here. This is us remapping the internet, capturing it, and we're able to share those matches directly with you, which is optimized and secure and stable. And this database also employs ProQuest to offer their library of 1 million thesis and dissertations, so you can match your content to those. And lastly, if you use this optional setting, you can match to other previous work that you've stored in your own private repository. So basically this will allow you to continue to check your work from your previous work that you have in your private ecosystem. So these documents are all walled off just for your use. And what we see here, this is just a visual representation of this colossal database of content that makes iThenticate a trusted resource for publishers and researchers. So we've already taken a look at that iThenticate similarity report, and it looks like this. And then the workflow we already talked about as well. So that's where you can grab, you click on that button that says upload a document or a set of documents, and then review those for you and or your team based on the rights and permissions you've provided for those folders. So, I'm going to share a little bit more about workflow options. If you're using this for graduate student work, you could provide access to each of your graduate students directly, or you could provide the tool for your faculty, and then they could upload the student's work and then have conversations or work with the student on the matches or the insights within that report. And for research and grant proposals, it's really the same options that apply. Teams could use this tool to collaborate, and you can grant individuals access just to the certain folders, or you could just provide each researcher their own individual access as well. So the tool itself, very simple to use, it's very flexible, but those are just some of the key primary ways that our partner schools tend to set up the workflow. A couple other things I just wanted to add in before we open it up for questions, conversations, or deeper tours. This is a view that really shows how each folder can be set up to be shared with specific users. So this works well if you've got a group working on research together, or a faculty member that is giving students specific access to folders to collaborate on work. And okay, this is something, just 3 settings that I picked out that I wanted to mention. Number 1, users can set automatic exclusions within their submission folder. And so, for example, you could set up by default to always exclude bibliographic material or methods in research material. Number 2, you can select, or not select, but list certain URLs in which you want excluded from the matches in your similarity report. Like for example, you might not want any matches coming from cdc.gov. So you could set that exclusion in the folder, and then the tool will never show any matches to that URL. And in addition, users can present phrase exclusion, so that specific phrases that might be common in your research can be omitted from the similarity report up front. Okay, so I said there were 3 options to mention. The third is that owners of the folders can set up email alerts. So an example of a use case: faculty member as a researcher working with graduate students on some research. If any member of that group or that graduate student uploads some work to that folder and there's like a high similarity score, like let's just say the work is like a 45% similarity match, the faculty member can have an alert set so they can email if a high threshold that they've set has been reached in any of the work. So I'm happy to answer more questions about that, but it's a nice management tool if you've got people working together and you want to help have oversight over the integrity. And the last part about email alerts, I think this is super cool. This is one of my kind of favorite capabilities for iThenticate, is that users can set automatic resubmissions of a document. So let's just say we looked at that grant proposal. Maybe I can keep that in that folder and set up a monthly check for that grant proposal to be checked to see if that similarity score changes. So if matches rise above a certain percentage, then that might be interesting to me, and I could get an alert. So I think that might be helpful for a researcher to find out if there's suddenly been some new additional content that has been published in the world that matches my work. It can, help monitor for misconduct across the industry. It might even help locate potential new colleague to collaborate with if these, other authors are really working on the same topics and publishing that I am. So those are just 2 of some of the kind of interesting applications that I was thinking about. You got reporting tools that can allow you to view the overall usage, including the similarity score and the name of the user and word count. And an interesting application for this is that larger universities may have multiple groups using iThenticate. And then what they do is the finance department takes this data and allocates the subscription cost to those various cost centers with those different colleges or departments. So it allows this bigger group to kind of share the cost of the license and makes it very, very economical for everyone. And this is just another example of a summary report where you can set up groups and then have those groups kind of managed for details. And before we wrap up, just want to talk a minute about data privacy and security. You always own your intellectual property, and Turnitin never indexes your work unless we do it for your own private node. So we are very serious and actually very proud of our data privacy and security that we offer. We partner with groups like the CDC, the EPA, the United States judicial system, pharma companies, and politicians. And so it's really imperative that we protect our partners' privacy. And our commitments and policy management and all those details are listed transparently on our website. So we can share the link here in a minute, but feel free to just Google Turnitin security and privacy, and you'll find that page. And any other questions, just ask anyone here at Turnitin. We'd be happy to help. Before I open for any questions or feedback, pricing. We offer the opportunity for individual users to access IThenticate directly from the website. That's a per submission model, and right now if you go and try to upload a document, the charge is $100 per document. But for groups and institutions, we offer subscriptions that can offer a really large discount per document if you're planning to use the tool more than just a few times. The subscription itself is for a use for a period of time, such as 1 year or 3 years. And to be fair for all the different use cases and sizes of customers, we use the number of your anticipated users, and we use the number of your anticipated documents to kind of right size the subscription price to be fair for everyone. So that is the quick and fast tour, and I'm happy, Alexis, if you've got anything you want me to cover. No. Did I miss any questions?
I don't think so, but maybe we want to open it up. If you have any questions for Gabby, feel free to drop them in the chat, or if there's something else that you'd like her to cover, or maybe showcase a little bit with IThenticate, please feel free to let us know. All right. Well, I don't see anything in the chat, but thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Gabby.
Yep. We'll be sharing some additional details out in email. If you're ready to get started and you don't even want to wait for the email, just drop your email privately here to Alexis, and we'll make sure that we follow up with you right away. Otherwise, yeah, feel free to use the email and reply. We'll be happy to support you in any other questions or applications. Yeah, it was very nice to get an opportunity to chat with you today and share about IThenticate. We love what we do here, and we really enjoy engaging with everyone. So thanks for your attendance, and yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day.